If you're watching this, then congratulations, because you're ready to stop giving your power away to external situations and you are ready to call your power back. In this video, we're going to explore 9 practical ways for you to stay in your power, for you to remain grounded and have stability despite of what is happening around you. I have good news and I have bad news. The bad news is that this period of chaos, challenges, and transformation, we're going to be moving through it for the next 5 years. What we're seeing now is just the beginning of this. The good news is that this is part of a larger cycle that typically happens every 11 years. And this is also part of a bigger cycle that happens every 12,000 years. So the smaller cycle is the solar cycle, which happens every 11 years. And history and research has shown that when we are at the peak of a solar cycle, which is what we are entering right now in 2024 and over the next 5 years, that is when we have the most important historical human events. So yes, get ready for more historical changes, but right now this is also aligning with this bigger 12,000-year-old cycle, which is us entering the photon belt. Our solar system is moving through this area in our cosmic skies. This region is known as the photon belt, which holds a concentration of photons, which is light, and light is information. So the last time our solar system went through the photon belt was 12,000 to 13,000 years ago, and that was during the downfall of Atlantis. So we're at a big choice point. Are we going to destroy ourselves like the Atlanteans, or are we going to choose a new earth, a new path forward for humanity? This is part of this bigger evolution of consciousness that the human species is moving through, but also right now Mother Earth is moving through a planetary evolution. And this is connected to so many different other cycles that I don't have the time to get into this video, but I talk more about in my alchemy workshop. So the good news is that this level of transformation and chaos right now, it's normal because things have to change. And again, we have the choice regarding of how this change will manifest. Each one of us matters in creating this new path for humanity, where we are creating new social systems, new political, new economic systems, new ways of being, new ways of evolving beyond evolving as souls through duality and pain and pleasure and black and white and good and evil, but now we can evolve through expansion. And this is a choice that we have. So that's the good news. Every choice that you make is going to help to create this new earth. It's going to help to birth the golden age of Aquarius, or it'll put us on the path that the Atlanteans took 12 to 13,000 years ago, and no one wants that. That's the main reason why you have to build stability and resilience at this specific time in human history. The other reason why you have to build this stability is because you have to start to become a pillar of peace, a pillar of clarity for your household, for your family, for your community, because you have the awareness now that you're watching this video, you're on this path, you've been doing your inner work, and now it's time for you to start to be that pillar of peace and clarity for those around you. Even though we may be seeing external storms around us, political, economic, natural disaster storms, we can still be in the center of the storm where it's calm and clear. That is the intention for us creating stability. And in this video, we're going to explore 9 practical ways for you to stay in your power, for you to remain grounded and have stability despite of what is happening around you. Hey, welcome. If you're new here, my name is IamSolTara. I'm a medium and I share alchemy practices from Atlantis and from ancient Egypt. If that resonates with you, I invite you to subscribe. If you're regularly feeling anxious, that's a sign that you need to ground. Also, it's a sign that you are not in your power. So throughout these 9 practical tips, we'll explore both the grounding aspect, but also calling your power back. At the end of the video, I'll share ways for how you can maintain your freedom amongst the changes and transformations, and how to prevent people from projecting their fears onto you and calling your energy back from those situations. Anytime that you are triggered and feeling anxious, feeling unsafe, giving your power away, whether something happens to you at work, in a relationship, you see something on the news, there's a natural disaster coming into your city, you will notice that your ego will be feeling anxious, but your soul will be at peace. Our goal is not to fight with the ego, it's not to destroy the ego. Our role in this human experience is to create harmony between our ego and our soul. So the first thing that you're going to do to create stability amongst the chaos is you are going to create a routine to build stability. Why? Because the ego loves to control. The ego is a control freak, but not because it's doing it out of self-sabotage or it's trying to make your life difficult. It is biologically designed to be a control freak so that you can survive and so that you can be safe. That is why the ego is doing that. So it's doing that because it loves you and it wants you to survive. So we're gonna work with the ego rather than fight it, because if we fight the ego, that's gonna create resistance. And in this world of duality with the law of polarity, whenever we have resistance, there has to be another thing to go against it. So we are going to work with our ego by creating a routine. This can be something simple as showering at the same time every single day, or eating your meal at a specific time of the day every single day. Just find little things that you can build a routine with, and that will give your ego a sense of control, a sense of knowing that they know that they can expect to do this thing at this particular time of the day. Therefore, the ego will feel more empowered and more safe, and it will stop acting up and creating a ruckus in your life. And this is an important theme. Our role is not to fight against 3D things like the ego, but rather, can we connect with our soul, with our higher self, and bring in that divine creativity to work around the limitations of the 3D structures that we exist in? Number 2, don't get stuck in emotions that come from distractions. Our world is deliberately designed to distract you, so it's not your fault that you're distracted, but it is your responsibility to become more disciplined to avoid distractions. So one of the most important things that you have to do is always be aware of what's on your path to pay attention to and what's not on your path to pay attention to. And that's simple. It's soul discernment. You're not meant to know everything that's out there. Also, it requires a lot of discipline to make sure that you're surrounded by empowering things. Did you know that the modern music industry no longer uses the same musical scale that they used before World War II? And why? Because it's designed to keep us in a low vibrational state. It puts us in a zombie mode. It's no surprise that you see people walking around and they're numb to the world. Why? Because we have like food that's numbing us and poisoning our bodies. We have music frequencies, we have the EMF coming from our Wi-Fi routers, from our 5G devices, and all of these things. And so yes, it's very easy to get distracted. It's very easy to have your body always being in fight or flight. And that's why it requires a lot of discipline to make sure that you are not getting distracted. So take a inventory of the social media accounts that you follow. Are they empowering you? Are they distracting you? Are they just numbing you? Pay attention to the movies, to the shows that you're watching. It's okay to watch TV and be relaxed, but pay attention to the programming that's happening there, because your brain is the most powerful supercomputer out there, and everything that your brain is observing, it doesn't matter if you understand it or not, your subconscious mind is absorbing it. And so when we're watching horror movies, when we're watching violent things, we are getting programmed to be that way. It's no accident that our world is more violent now because of all of the music that is focused on violence, all of the video games that are focused on violence, all the movies and shows that are focused on violence. Remember, you have to protect your mind. No one can protect your mind for you but you. And that is why you have to be disciplined to make sure that you're listening to music that empowers you, and it's not making you feel like you're not enough because you don't look like the people in the music videos. You don't have their specific sexy bodies, what they portray as sexy. You don't have that wad of cash. Remember, you want to move away from anything that is disempowering you to things that are actually more empowering. When something chaotic happens, you can use this tip number 3. Focus on what you can control. So let's say that there's a storm coming your way to your city, or let's just say something's happening at work and you're feeling flustered and anxious about all the different potentials that can happen. So remember, our goal is to work with ego, and your brain is going to go into adrenaline and start to pump a bunch of different drugs and chemicals that you will not be able to do anything. You'll be in this frozen position or just overwhelmed. So this is what you can do. Get a piece of paper and a pen and write down 2 columns. On the left side column, write down things you can control. On the right side column, write down things you can't control. And so with all the racing thoughts that are coming to you because of this triggering event, remember, your reptilian brain is designed to make sure that you survive. It's designed to make sure that your family survives. And so your brain is designed this way, so we're going to work with that momentum. So just start to write down things you can control, things you can't control as they're flowing in. And once you start to write these down, the adrenaline will start to release because you're actually taking action with them. It's the thoughts and the ideas are no longer just here, but they're actually on paper. What this does is this releases the adrenaline, the stress, and then it starts to make you feel empowered because you start to see, oh, this is the things that I can control. So once you finish writing that list, then ignore everything on the right because you can't control it. So you're going to focus on the things that you can control. And the simple reason is because where focus goes, energy flows. As you start to focus on the things you can control, and you'll start to get ideas of different solutions for how you can face that challenging situation. And it's very important that you write down this list before the chaotic event happens. This way you're prepared for it. Inside of the Alchemy Academy, we had an emergency preparedness call with a military veteran because we were getting visions about what was coming ahead. And so instead of us freaking out, we're like, okay, what do we need? We need this amount of water for this amount of people in our homes. We need X, Y, Z. And so make sure that you try to write this list down before things happen so that you are better prepared for a situation. Like recently, as this war is escalating, I called my mom because my mom lives 30 minutes outside of Washington, D.C. At first I was freaking out, and then I did this exercise, and then I told my mom that she has to come up with a plan with my brother, because what if the cell phone towers stop working? What if you cannot make a phone call to your loved ones? I told them that they have to prepare ahead of time of what they're gonna do if they're not able to contact each other. They need to already have a plan of who's gonna go to each other's houses. And that is how I am able to create stability for my family. I don't live with my family, but I can tell them, hey, this is the different ways that you can prepare. Because remember, you have to become a pillar of peace, a pillar of clarity and empowerment for your loved ones. Whether they are inside of your household or they live somewhere else, there are so many different ways that we can support our family and our community. And there's another layer to this. And I'm sharing this because of this question from Old Spirit, Diligent Spirit 111. I love your name, by the way. They were asking, how can we create heaven on earth for our own reality? So this exercise about what you can control and what you can't control, like in that chaotic scenario, I encourage you to do this for the next 3 to 5 years. So think about 2028 or 2029, 3 to 5 years from now. You choose the time frame. In 3 to 5 years, what do you want your life to look like? It's very important that you actively design and create your life, because we're always manifesting. Every single thought that you have, every single emotion that you have, you are constantly creating and sending that out into the field. And we want to be conscious creators, not unconsciously just getting sucked up by the wave of chaos and changes. So write down this list. In 3 years, what can you control and what don't you have control over? And just focus on what you can control to design this heaven on earth reality that Old Spirit, Diligent Spirit 111 is referring to. And it's very important to do this, otherwise you will get sucked up into other people's agendas and other people's projections of what they think they want for you. And this fourth tip comes from this question from E.J. Yako. She asked, the inner battles we fight to keep stability standing before chaos pushes us to the ground. This is a very important question because we're always fighting something. Everyone is always dealing with a challenge, whether you see it or not, because we're all putting up a mask. Everyone is dealing with something. So how do you face like all of the chaos with on top of everything that you are already dealing with? There is no easy path to this, and this is the path to self-mastery. You have to master your mind and you have to master your emotions. There is no shortcut to this, but this is what's going to create stability in your world regardless of what's happening around you. And this is the path that we all chose to be in. We all chose to reincarnate as humans in this specific time in human history, in planetary history. And truly, this is the path of the human experience. We chose to reincarnate on Earth so that we can learn to master our reality. How do we master our reality? By mastering your mind and your emotions. There is no shortcut to this. The way to do this is through inner work. Ayahuasca is not going to do this for you. A therapist is not going to do this for you. A ritual is not going to do this for you. This is something that you can do only for yourself. There's no other healer, no other psychic that can do this for you. It's a path that you have to walk, and no one else can walk this path for you, the path to self-mastery. And that is exactly why I created the Golden Age Alchemy Academy, because I was tired of going from one teacher to another teacher, taking one course about manifesting, taking a healing course, taking an astral projection course, but rather I wanted to have everything in one place so that you can learn to become your own healer and psychic. In the Alchemy Academy, we take you from start to finish. The academy is divided into 4 parts. The first 2 parts are all about mastering your mind and your emotions, because once you master your internal energy, only then can you start to master external energy, which you learn to do in part 3 and 4 of the academy, where you learn to open up your psychic abilities, connect with spirit guides, astral project, manifest instantly, practice sex magic, practice alchemy with astrology so the retrogrades don't affect you, and all of these really cool things. But again, we can only do that once we master ourselves first. If you want to apply to the Alchemy Academy, you can get more details and apply in the description of the video. The 5th thing you can do to create more stability amongst chaos is to connect with your soul, connect with your higher self. This version of you has access to information that exists outside of your 3D linear time space, but also outside of your current human experience. Guess what? Your soul has been around Earth and other planets for hundreds and thousands of lifetimes. So guess what? You have so much wisdom there, and you're able to connect with that wisdom that allows you to see the bigger picture. Maybe, let's just say, for example, a chaotic thing that you see is that you see someone robbing someone else, and that's really chaotic and triggering. But what if when you connect with the bird's eye view, you see that that person who's currently the robber and the victim, what if they had switched their roles? Because within karma, we always have to repay our karma back. And now they are just rebalancing their karma by the victim and the robber switching places. So this is why you have to take a bird's eye view of the situation and really observe what is happening right now. Even a simple way to understand what's happening in our world right now is what happens when we get sick. Let's say we ate leftovers and the food was spoiled. Now we have a stomach flu and we get sick, we have to throw up, we're not feeling well. Well, that's part of the purging process in order for us to feel better. That's what's happening across our political, economic, spiritual, social, educational systems. It's like everything is getting purged out so that humanity, so that Mother Earth can rebalance itself. And to go a step further into this concept, let's explore Yana 88's question: how internal stability is closely connected to self-trust. So if you are not listening to your soul, then of course your inner internal compass is going to go haywire and your life is going to start to get chaotic because you're not listening to yourself. And it's important for you to really have this strong connection with your North Star. I am not your North Star. No one on YouTube is your North Star. You and your soul and your higher self are your own North Star, because we all have different truths. We all came in here with a specific karmic and soul contract to fulfill, and so you have to honor that purpose. You have to walk your path. Again, no one else can walk it for you. And when you are trusting yourself, you are honoring that soul path that you chose before you reincarnated. And I know, even me myself, I'm like, I did not choose this. And yes, you can renegotiate soul contracts, especially right now as humanity is being freed on so many levels. Okay, and Kushbu Sakdev asked this question: how to stay positive and live through the chaos. So this is number 6 of how you can maintain a positive environment around you. Guess what? We're in the age of Aquarius. The age of Aquarius is all about community. You have to either find community or you have to be the one to create it. Now, an easy way to do this is to pull up the Maps app on your phone and look up metaphysical store or look up crystal shop. When you go to your local crystal or metaphysical shop, you'll notice that they're often doing different live events, and there you can meet other people who are on the same path as you. Because let's face it, once you start to do your inner work, once you start to go down the rabbit hole of how this reality, how this universe really works, like, you're literally become Alice in Wonderland. Like, you go down the rabbit hole and shit is weird, and you become weird because you realize that this is not real and everything's an illusion. And then eventually you become the black sheep of your family or your friend group, and you have no one to talk to about these things. And guess what? That's normal. It's awesome that you are a weird person. It's cool to be a black sheep now because it shows that you're different. And that's what this age of Aquarius is about. It's about embracing our unique ray of light. Yes, we all came from source. Yes, we're all made of light. What happens when you shine light through a prism? The white light goes through and it fragments into all of the different colors of the rainbow. You hold a ray of color, I hold a different ray of color, and we all have to start to shine these unique rays. And that's why you have to find communities and spaces that allow you to shine your unique ray. And guess what? That's why you have to be a part of different communities. You'll have a friend community, you have a spiritual community, you have an exercise community, right? Because you get to show different aspects of your multidimensional self in all these different communities. You're not a flat, one-dimensional creature. You have a beautiful personality, and it's time for you to allow yourself to express it in the right safe spaces. You know, right now is the time for the X-Men to come together. I love that movie because the X-Men, they were all of these like weird beings, and they finally got together, and that's how they changed the world, right? With their superpowers. And that's what we're all going to do. And I want to personally invite you to join our Golden Age Alchemy family, because every last Friday of the month on YouTube, we gather to send light around the world. We send light to optimize the timelines so that we don't have to experience chaotic events in order to evolve. And we spend the first few minutes of every Soul Family Friday connecting, seeing what dreams we're having, what themes are coming up. And we've been doing these the last Friday of every month since 2020 because Goddess Isis, the ancient Egyptian goddess of healing and magic, she told me that it's so important for us now more than ever to start to create spaces for us to connect with open hearts, heart to heart, no longer wearing masks, but really open spaces where we can be vulnerable. So you can join us for these Soul Family Fridays. Subscribe and hit the notification bell to be notified of when we host these Soul Family Fridays. It's the last Friday of every month. Having a safe community where you feel like you truly belong, it's not a luxury. You are biologically designed to have access to these. Because think about it, our ancestors, they would always be in clans, they would always be in tribes, because they had to protect each other from other tribes, from alligators, from tigers, etc., etc. And they always had to go out hunting and gathering together. And even though some people couldn't hunt or some people couldn't gather things, at least other members of the group were able to give them what they found, so it ensured their survival. So this is hundreds and hundreds of years of programming where you are designed to crave a community and feel safe and belong to a group. You are biologically designed this way. So I love to be a hermit sometimes too, but guess what? We're not designed this way. And so don't fight your nature. Instead, go out and find these safe spaces or create one yourself. Your root chakra is influenced by your sense of belonging. So if you feel like you don't belong, then you'll definitely feel ungrounded and unstable. Also, your root chakra is governed by your sense of safety and stability. And what do we need to be stable and safe in this world? We need to have a safe home, a safe shelter, a stable food supply, and all of these things. But something that you can do to also shift the energy and release the imbalances from your root chakra so that you can truly be stable. I mean, look at it. The root chakra is at the bottom of your spine. It's what all of your chakras, it's what all of your spine sits on top of. So if this is imbalanced, of course you're gonna be unstable. And the way to do that is through chanting Lam. Lam. Lam will help to stimulate your root chakra. And why do we chant? It's no accident that sound healing is becoming more mainstream and more popular now, because our world really needs it. Sound has the ability to bypass your reptilian brain and your ego, and it goes straight into the nerves, it goes straight into the cells, and it starts and accelerates the healing process. That's why sound healing is so powerful. Also, when you chant directly yourself instead of using a singing bowl or binaural beats, which are great, they have their place, but you also have to use your own voice, because when you chant Lam for 2 minutes, not only is it going to create stability along your root chakra and along your spine, but it will stimulate your vagus nerve. Your vagus nerve is the cranial nerve that is the longest cranial nerve in your body. It goes all the way from the bottom of your head down to your spine. So guess what? It touches all of your chakras, all of your major energy centers. It also touches all of your organs. And when you stimulate this nerve, it automatically moves your body from fight or flight into a more calm state, so more stability. To stimulate and balance your root chakra, you can also eat red colored foods. You can wear black crystals, red crystals, or gray crystals to bring more balance to this energy center. I also have a root chakra cleansing and activation. I'll add it in the description of this video. When something chaotic happens, you don't want to get stuck in your reptilian brain in fight or flight or freeze. What you want to do is you want to work with this beautiful machine that you have, which is your mind and your body. And you want to start to return back into your body. This way you're not stuck up here, but you're rather moving the adrenaline throughout your body. Remember that your body is a beautiful machine that's designed to keep you alive. But instead of having all of that adrenaline pumping through fight, flight, or freeze, instead, a healthy way to transform the adrenaline is through exercise. So anytime something chaotic happens, maybe start to do some push-ups, jumping jacks, or start to dance or jump or do any type of exercise to bring stability back into your body, because all of that excess energy is staying up here, and you want to allow that energy to be circulated smoothly all over your energy field so you can bring back homeostasis and stability. And this is tip number 8. returning to your body when something chaotic happens. So one way to do it is through exercise. Another way to do it is by singing, because singing, it activates not just our vocal cords, but remember, it stimulates your vagus nerve and it will reset your nervous system. So share in the comments, what is the most empowering song that truly shifts your energy very fast and just makes you feel very strong? Let me know in the comments, and one of you, I will love you so much and I'll love you forever if you create a playlist with all of the different songs that people wrote in the comments. Another simple thing that you can do to return to your body when something chaotic happens is by breathing and massaging your body. So taking deep belly breaths, breathing in, do it right now. Hold, and just give yourself a massage and gently exhale out through your mouth. Breathe in. Hold. And exhale out. And notice how you're more aware now. Notice how you are more present. Again, it's these simple things that if you do them on a regular basis, your nervous system will start to show you this new level of stability. Okay, this is the 9th tip, and this one's my favorite because it's all about calling your energy back. Anytime you are triggered by the news, anytime you're triggered by someone else or by something happening in the environment, you have to call your energy back. And Chandini Botre asked, how do you eliminate the projections of by others state of mind instantly? So the first thing is, think about a present. Someone can always give you a present, but it's your choice whether you want to accept the present or not. It's the same thing with other people's opinions of you or their projections. You can choose to take their projections, you can choose to take their commentary, or you can choose to deny it. So it is your choice. Remember, you have the choice and the power to decide whether you want to take someone's projections or you don't. So in that moment, you have to be mindful of that choice. And every single moment, we always have the choice to either give our power away or hold our power, regardless of what the person is doing or the circumstances around us. And I want to share some inspiring examples to show you the power of this. So we all know Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in prison for opposing South Africa's apartheid system. And this is what he said when he was released from prison 27 years later. He said, "As I walked out the door towards the gate that would lead to my freedom, I knew that if I didn't leave my bitterness and hatred behind, I'd still be in prison." How powerful is that? We can either choose to walk with the chains of our past, of the past hurts, the past betrayals people have done to us, or we can choose to walk with trust and freedom. So most of us haven't been in jail for 27 years, so this is a lot easier for us to do it than for Nelson Mandela to do it. Let me show you another example. This is Aung San Suu Kyi, and she spent 21 years in jail. She's a Burmese activist who was protesting the military regime in a peaceful way, and she was fighting to restore the freedom to the people of Myanmar via peaceful methods. She was also in prison. She said the only real prison is fear, and the only real freedom is freedom from fear. The only real freedom is the freedom from fear. I know a lot of the times we fear getting rejected, we fear hurting other people, or we fear about what people think about us. And it's normal. Why? Because by now you know that you are biologically wired to feel a sense of safety within a community. But remember, you get to choose your community. You get to choose what people's perceptions you want and which ones you don't. The power is always in your hands. And now, freedom is one of the things that is going to be challenged for all of us over these next 5 years, because as the age of Aquarius starts to push more freedom and the people start to rise up and call their freedom back, guess what has to happen in this world of dualism with the law of polarity? As we're demanding for more freedom, that's going to lead to a push towards more control by the systems that we exist in. So the pop-ups that I've been showing throughout this video, I basically asked people in our community, hey, I'm making a video about instability during chaos, what do you want me to talk about? And this is from IamSolTara. He asked identity changes, the uncertainty of changing to a more sovereign way of being. So the key here is that you have to reframe your identity, not based off of your current situations or external realities, but based on your internal values, based on your inner truth, your soul truth, the highest truth that there is. And the truth is that we're all sovereign free beings, whether we choose to accept that truth or not. These two examples will explain this in a powerful way. The first one is from Elie Wiesel, who is a Holocaust survivor, an author, and a human rights activist. In his book, Night, he explains how he was able to maintain his inner freedom, the freedom within his mind and within his heart, despite the oppression from the Nazis, despite being inside of a concentration camp. And I want to share this beautiful essay he wrote. What really makes us free? The teacher who taught the starving children was a free man. The nurse who secretly cared for the wounded, the ill, and the dying was a free woman. Even in a climate of oppression, men are capable of inventing their own freedom, of creating their own ideal sovereignty. Despite all of the freedoms that were taken away from Elie in the concentration camp, he was forced to sleep at a specific time, eat at a specific time, only eat a certain amount of food. Despite all of this, he mentioned that he would find every way to be free in his mind, and that was his true resistance. I'm going to share another story to illustrate this powerful concept further. This is a story of Salman Mansour, an artist whose paintings were getting confiscated by soldiers. And Salman was a Palestinian artist, and one day Israeli soldiers came in and they started to confiscate his paintings in the 1980s because they didn't like what it portrayed. They thought that it was portraying resistance, Palestinian resistance, and so they told him that he can't paint stuff like that, that he had to paint beautiful things like flowers and fields, etc., etc. And so he asked the soldiers, well, what if I paint a flower in the colors of the Palestinian flag? And then they told him, well, we'll have to confiscate that. And then they got upset and they told him, even if you paint watermelons, which are the colors of the Palestinian flag, will confiscate that too. And the story is so ironic because Salman Mansour was getting limited with his creativity by these soldiers saying what he could and what he could not paint and portray. And they actually gave him the idea to paint a watermelon. And for Salman, this represented the resistance because as a Palestinian artist, he wanted to portray the Palestinian culture and identity by having the colors of the flag. And so he started to paint these watermelons. And it's fascinating because nowadays we're seeing so much censorship online. Even today, activists are using pictures of the watermelon to avoid online censorship. How can we use our divine creativity to transcend all limitations? And in a second, I'm going to share a meme that will clearly state my political views. Before I share that meme, I just want to say that it doesn't matter what religion you practice, what ethnicity you are, what race you are, what sexual orientation you have. None of that matters to me because at the end of the day, we are all souls beyond these labels. We're one human race, and I truly want to express my gratitude to you for supporting me in my work. And I want to be very clear that no matter where you come from, what you look like, what you think about, you are safe here in this Golden Age Alchemy family. And we need to be creating more safe spaces where we can have these difficult conversations. It's not about being politically correct or any of that, but it's about respecting one another and making sure we all feel safe. Because at the end of the day, all of the conflicts, every single conflict that we're seeing around the world, it is driven by unresolved trauma and pain that we're all feeling. So thank you for being here. Thank you for choosing this path of awareness. And thank you for choosing unity, most importantly, because alone, you are powerful. Alone, I am powerful. But when humanity unites, that is when we become invincible. So thank you for choosing unity. Thank you for choosing awareness and understanding. And this meme summarizes my political views. I truly hope that all of us call our power back from all of the different systems that we've given our power away to. But most importantly, after we do that, I hope that we can truly create new systems, because as this chaos is happening, it's a power vacuum that once these systems dissolve, we're going to need new systems of agriculture, new educational systems, even new entertainment systems, new way of doing business. And I hope that you are very active in creating those new systems. And thank you for supporting me and my work. Without you, none of this would be possible. So thank you, thank you, thank you. This means a lot to me and I don't take it lightly. If you're having trouble feeling grounded, you can watch this video that will help you to practice energy cleansing so that you can clear your energy from any distortions that may be coming your way. I'm wishing you a beautiful day ahead. Much love.